Listen carefully, because this might be the truth you've been avoiding. You think you're safe. You think staying comfortable is protecting you. But let me tell you something. Comfort is not protecting you. It's paralyzing you. Every day you choose ease over effort. You are silently agreeing to a smaller life. That bed feels good. That scrolling feels easy. That I'll do it tomorrow sounds harmless. But those small decisions, they're not small. They are building a future you don't want. You're not stuck because life is hard. You're stuck because you've made comfort your home. And here's the part most people don't want to hear. Nothing great has ever been built inside a comfort zone. Not success, not strength, not confidence. All of it lives on the other side of discomfort, on the other side of fear, doubt, and pressure. You want to win? Then you've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable, because right now, while you're sitting in ease, someone else is grinding. While you're hesitating, someone else is executing. While you're waiting for the right time, someone else is creating opportunities. And one day, you're going to look up, and they'll be ahead, living the life you once dreamed about. And you'll ask yourself, what happened? I'll tell you what happened. You chose comfort. You chose the easy road when you should have chosen growth. You chose to avoid pain, not realizing that avoiding pain creates a lifetime of regret. See, pain is temporary. Discipline is temporary. The struggle, temporary. But regret stays. Regret is waking up years from now, realizing you had the ability, the time, the chance, and you let it slip because you didn't want to feel uncomfortable for a little while. That's a heavy price to pay for comfort. So here's the decision you need to make right now. Are you going to stay where it's easy or go where it's worth it? Because you cannot have both. You cannot live a comfortable life and expect extraordinary results. That's not how this works. Growth demands sacrifice. Success demands pressure. Greatness demands that you step into spaces that scare you. You've got to start doing the things you've been avoiding. Wake up earlier, work harder, push further, stay disciplined when it's boring, stay focused when it's tough. That's where the transformation happens, not when you feel like it. Not when it's convenient, but when it's uncomfortable. That's the moment that defines you. So don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect moment. That moment doesn't exist. This is it, right now. Get up, get moving, get uncomfortable. Because if you don't, life will move on without you. And trust me, you don't want to be the person who looks back and realizes you traded your dreams for comfort. Comfort doesn't destroy you all at once. It takes you out slowly, quietly, while you're smiling and thinking everything is fine. That's the danger. You don't even feel it happening. You wake up, do what's easy, avoid what's hard, and tell yourself you'll push tomorrow. But tomorrow turns into next week, next month, next year. And without realizing it, you've built a life around avoiding discomfort. That's the trap. It doesn't look like failure. It looks like safety. It feels like peace. But underneath that comfort, something is slipping away. Your drive, your hunger, your edge. See, comfort makes you passive. It convinces you that where you are is good enough. It tells you not to take risks, not to push limits, not to step into uncertainty. And the more you listen, the smaller your world becomes. Your goals shrink, your ambition fades, you stop demanding more from yourself. And here's the truth most people ignore. You don't lose your potential in one big moment. You lose it in small, repeated decisions. Choosing to stay in bed instead of getting up early, choosing distraction over focus, choosing convenience over discipline. These choices feel harmless in the moment, but they stack up. Day by day, they shape your identity. After a while, you're not just someone who avoids discomfort. You become someone who can't handle it. That's when the real damage is done, because life doesn't care about your comfort. Opportunities require effort. Growth requires pressure. Success demands that you step into situations where you don't feel ready. But if you've trained yourself to always choose ease, you'll start running from the very things that could change your life. And the worst part? You'll justify it. You'll say it's not the right time. You'll say you need to prepare more. You'll say you're waiting for motivation, but deep down, you know the truth. You're choosing comfort over growth. That's the silent trap. It doesn't force you to quit. It just makes you settle. It keeps you in a place where nothing breaks, but nothing improves either. You're not failing loudly. You're just not progressing at all. And over time, that's even more dangerous. Because you get used to it. You start believing this is all you're capable of. But it's not. You were built for more than this cycle of ease and avoidance. You were built to push, to struggle, to evolve. But that version of you can't exist in comfort. So the question is simple. How long are you going to stay in a place that feels good but leads nowhere? Because every extra day you spend choosing comfort, you're drifting further away from the life you actually want. And one day, if you're not careful, you'll wake up and realize you didn't fail because you weren't capable. You failed because you got too comfortable. Every easy choice you make today is quietly building a life you won't want tomorrow. It doesn't feel dangerous in the moment. Skipping the hard work, avoiding the pressure, choosing rest over effort, it all feels harmless. It even feels deserved. You tell yourself you'll get serious later, that you'll push when the time is right. But life doesn't work like that. The pattern you follow today becomes the reality you live in later. Easy choices don't stay easy. They come back around, and when they do, they're heavier, harder, and more painful than the effort you tried to avoid in the first place. That workout you skipped turns into low energy and poor health. That opportunity you avoided turns into missed growth and lost income. That discipline you ignored turns into a lack of confidence and control over your own life. You thought you were choosing comfort, but what you were really choosing was a delayed struggle. And delayed struggle is always more expensive, because when you avoid doing what's necessary now, the consequences don't disappear. They multiply. They grow in the background while you're distracted, while you're comfortable, while you're telling yourself everything is fine. Then one day reality hits, and now you're not just dealing with one problem, you're dealing with 10. That's how a hard life is built. Not from one big failure, but from a series of small, easy decisions stacked on top of each other. Decisions that felt good in the moment, but worked against you in the long run. The hard truth is this: discipline feels hard now, but it creates ease later. Lack of discipline feels easy now, but it creates hardship later. You don't get to escape difficulty. You only get to choose when you face it. You can face it now on your terms through effort, sacrifice, and consistency. Or you can face it later when it's forced on you through regret, stress, and limitations. Most people choose later. They choose to scroll instead of study, to sleep instead of build, to wait instead of act. And over time, those choices shape a life where everything feels harder than it should be. Money becomes a struggle. Opportunities become rare. Confidence becomes fragile. And then they wonder why life feels so difficult. But life didn't become hard overnight. It was built that way, piece by piece, choice by choice. The reality is, the things you're avoiding right now are the very things that would make your life easier in the future. The discipline, the effort, the discomfort. They are investments. They pay off in freedom, strength, and control. But if you keep choosing what's easy, you're investing in the opposite, a life where you're always catching up, always stressed, always wishing you had done more when you had the chance. So the question isn't whether life will be hard. It will be the real question is, will you choose the hard path that builds you or the easy path that breaks you? Because one leads to growth and the other leads to regret. You're not going to stumble into greatness. You're going to suffer your way into it. That's the truth most people avoid because it doesn't feel good to hear. But every level of real growth demands discomfort. There is no version of success, strength, or confidence that doesn't require you to go through pressure, resistance, and moments where quitting feels easier than continuing. Growth doesn't live in comfort. It lives in friction. It lives in the moments where you want to stop but keep going anyway. It lives in the days where nothing feels motivating, but you still show up. It lives in the decisions where you choose discipline over emotion. That's where transformation actually happens. Not in inspiration, but in repetition under discomfort. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. That's not just a phrase, it's a rule of life, because everything you want to become is on the other side of something you currently avoid. You want confidence, but you avoid speaking up. You want success, but you avoid hard work. You want discipline, but you avoid structure. And as long as you stay in what feels easy, you stay exactly the same. Comfort protects your feelings, but it blocks your future. Discomfort builds your future, but it challenges your feelings. That's the trade-off. And most people choose based on emotion instead of vision. They choose what feels good now over what builds them later. But nothing valuable grows without pressure. Just like muscles don't grow without resistance, your mindset, character, and discipline don't grow without struggle. Every challenge you avoid is a version of you you never become. Think about that. Every time you back away from discomfort, you are turning away from growth that could have shaped you. Not all at once, but slowly, quietly, over time. You stay the same while life moves forward. And then one day, you look around and realize you're still thinking the same way, still reacting the same way, still stuck in the same patterns. Not because you didn't have potential, but because you avoided the process that develops it. Growth is not a moment. It's a process of repeated discomfort. It's waking up early when you don't feel like it. It's doing the work when nobody is watching. It's staying consistent when motivation disappears. It's pushing through doubt, fear, and laziness instead of listening to them. That's what separates people who grow from people who stay stuck. Not talent, not luck, not opportunity. Tolerance for discomfort. The more you can handle pressure, the more you grow. The more you avoid pressure, the more you shrink into limitation. It's that simple. But here's the part most people don't want to accept. Discomfort never goes away. You don't escape it. You evolve through it. You either face it now and grow, or face it later when life forces you into it without preparation. So the question is not whether discomfort will show up. It already has. The question is whether you're going to use it as a reason to quit or as the very thing that builds you into someone stronger than you are today. You don't have unlimited time. You just have the illusion that you do. That's the truth most people ignore while life keeps moving forwards without slowing down for anyone. Every second that passes is gone forever. You don't get it back, you don't redo it, and you don't pause it. But while time is constantly moving, most people are standing still, waiting, hesitating, delaying the very things they know they need to do. And that gap between knowing and doing is where life is either built or lost. You keep telling yourself there will be a better moment, a more motivated version of you, a clearer situation, less pressure, more confidence. But that moment never arrives the way you imagine it, because life doesn't clear the path for you. You move forward in spite of the chaos. And while you're waiting for the right time, something else is happening in the background. Time is passing. Opportunities are fading. Energy is shifting. And other people are using the same hours you are wasting to build something meaningful. That's the uncomfortable reality. Time doesn't wait for potential. It only reflects action. You might think delaying doesn't cost anything, but it does. It costs momentum. It costs progress. It costs the version of you that could have existed if you had started earlier. Every day you postpone your goals, you don't stay the same, you fall behind, and falling behind is silent at first. You don't notice it in one day. You don't feel it in 1 week, but over time it becomes obvious. The gap between who you are and who you could have been starts to widen. And by the time you realize it, the distance feels overwhelming. That's how life works when you underestimate time It doesn't punish you loudly. It just quietly removes your chances. You say you'll start tomorrow, but tomorrow turns into habits of delay. You say you'll get serious next month, but next month becomes another cycle of excuses. And slowly, you train yourself to believe that starting later is acceptable, but later is where dreams go to weaken because the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to start. Fear grows. Doubt grows. Expectations grow. And what once felt simple now feels heavy. Not because the task changed, but because you changed through avoidance. Time rewards movement, not intention. It rewards the person who acts while others hesitate. It rewards the one who starts imperfectly instead of waiting for perfect conditions, because perfection never arrives. Clarity comes after action, not before it. So while you're waiting for everything to line up, life is already moving forward with or without you. And here's the hard truth most people avoid. You are not losing time because life is unfair. You are losing it because you are not using it. Every hour you waste is not just gone, it's gone with interest. It takes future possibilities with it. It removes options. It reduces choices. And one day, if you keep waiting long enough, you will look back and realize something painful. It was never time that was missing. It was urgency, because the truth is simple. Time was never waiting for you, but you kept waiting on time. While you're debating, someone else is already becoming who you said you wanted to be. That's the reality most people don't want to face. Life is not paused while you figure things out. It's not waiting for you to feel ready. It's not slowing down so you can catch up. Every single day, while you're overthinking, hesitating, or staying comfortable, someone else is taking action in the same direction you're only dreaming about. And action always beats intention. You might have the idea, you might have the dream, you might even have the talent, but none of that matters if you don't move. Because in the real world, progress doesn't belong to the most gifted. It belongs to the most consistent. The ones who show up when it's hard. The ones who keep going when it's boring. The ones who don't wait for motivation, but build discipline instead. Meanwhile, while you delay, someone else is stacking days. One day of effort doesn't look like much. But repeated daily, it becomes unstoppable. That's how people rise above you, not in a moment, but in a pattern. They wake up earlier. They stay focused longer. They push through discomfort while you're still trying to feel ready. And slowly, without drama, they start pulling ahead. At first, you don't notice it. The gap seems small, but over time it grows. Their skills sharpen while yours stay the same. Their confidence builds while yours stays uncertain. Their experience multiplies while yours remains theoretical. And what once felt equal becomes completely different paths. That's how life separates people. Not through luck, not through talent, but through execution. Every time you choose delay, someone else chooses discipline. Every time you say later, someone else says now. Every time you scroll, relax, or avoid discomfort, someone else is building momentum. And momentum is powerful. It doesn't just move you forward, it makes everything easier over time. That's why the gap keeps widening, because action compounds, but hesitation doesn't. Effort multiplies, but avoidance doesn't. Time rewards consistency, not potential. And while you're still waiting for the perfect moment, others are creating results in imperfect conditions. Here's what makes it even more dangerous. The world doesn't pause your life so you can catch up later. It keeps moving. Opportunities don't wait. Doors don't stay open forever. And the chances you ignore today don't always come back tomorrow. So while you're planning, someone else is producing. While you're thinking, someone else is executing. While you're doubting, someone else is building proof. And eventually, proof beats potential. That's when reality becomes hard to ignore. Because it's no longer about what you could have done. It's about what someone else actually did while you were deciding. And that's the part that stings the most. Not that you lacked ability, but that you delayed action, because in the end, the distance between where you are and where you want to be is not created by time alone. It's created by who is willing to move while others stay still. Regret doesn't show up like pain in the moment. It shows up like silence years later when you realize it's too late to fix what you avoided. That's the part nobody prepares you for. Hard work hurts for a moment. Discipline feels heavy for a season, but regret stays. It doesn't fade quickly. It sits with you, quietly replaying every decision you wish you had made differently. And by the time you understand its weight, you can't go back and change anything. You can only remember, most people don't fear pain. They fear discomfort in the moment. That's why they choose easy paths. They avoid pressure, delay responsibility, and escape challenges. It feels harmless at first, but life is always recording. Every skipped effort, every ignored opportunity, every moment of hesitation is being stored as a future consequence. And one day, those consequences show up together. Regret is not loud in the beginning. It starts with questions. What if I had started earlier? What if I stayed consistent? What if I didn't quit so easily? Those questions don't just appear randomly. They come from realizing that your present situation is the result of repeated avoidance in the past, and that realization is heavy because you start seeing the connection between who you are and what you chose. Not what you lacked, not what you didn't get, but what you consistently avoided doing when you had the chance. Regret is powerful because it doesn't just point at failure, it points at potential. The version of you that could have existed, the life you could have built, the opportunities you let pass by because comfort felt better in the moment. And here's what makes it worse. Regret doesn't stay in one area of life. It spreads. You don't just regret one decision, you start seeing patterns. Missed discipline leads to missed goals. Missed effort leads to missed growth. Missed consistency leads to missed confidence. And suddenly, it feels like time worked against you, when in reality, it was your choices that shaped the outcome. The painful truth is this: regret is built quietly through daily decisions that felt too small to matter. Skipping one workout, delaying one task, avoiding one difficult conversation, ignoring one opportunity. None of these feel significant alone, but together they form a life direction. And that direction either leads to growth or leads to reflection filled with "I should have." By the time regret fully settles in, motivation is no longer enough to fix it, because now it's not about starting, it's about rebuilding lost time, lost momentum, and lost confidence. And that's a much harder battle. This is why discipline matters more than emotion. Because emotion fades, but consequences remain. You might not feel like working today, but that decision will still echo into your future. You might not feel like pushing yourself now, but your future self will live inside the results of that choice. Regret is simply the receipt of avoided responsibility. And once you understand that, life becomes clearer. Every action you take today is either building a future you will be proud of, or one you will have to live with in silence, wishing you had chosen differently. So here's where it all comes together. Comfort is not your friend. It never was. It feels safe, but it slowly removes your edge. It convinces you to wait, to delay, to stay where nothing demands more from you. And while it keeps you relaxed today, it quietly builds a future you won't be proud of tomorrow. That's why this is not just motivation, it's a decision point. You can keep choosing ease, keep postponing effort, keep telling yourself there's still time. But understand this clearly. Time doesn't negotiate. It doesn't slow down for potential. It doesn't pause for excuses. It only reflects what you do with it. And every day you stay in comfort, you are making a choice, whether you admit it or not. But there is another path, a harder path, a demanding path, a path that requires you to move when you don't feel like it, to show up when it's inconvenient, to push when everything in you wants to stop. That path doesn't feel good in the beginning, but it builds something comfort never can: strength, discipline, identity, results. And one day you will look back and realize the truth. The pain of discipline was never as heavy as the weight of regret. So the question is not whether life will challenge you. It will. The question is whether you will face that challenge now, on your terms, or later, under pressure you can no longer control, because comfort will always offer you an easy excuse, but it will never offer you a better life, so get out of it. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, because the longer you stay comfortable, the more expensive the exit becomes. And the life you keep postponing is only waiting for one thing from you, a decision to finally move.